Welcome back to the Zero to Here podcast, people. We love you. On tonight's show, Chase Cedar, cryptocurrency blockchain expert. This is a really intelligent young dude. We go into all things crypto. He attempts to explain in layman's terms how the blockchain works. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency that I'm sure you've all heard of. This was the first currency to utilize the blockchain technology. He explains the difference between cryptocurrency and what blockchain is and how the two work together. He goes into a bunch of detail on why decentralized currency has value and where he thinks it's going in terms of parts of the world that will use it and how it will be used. We talk a lot about Facebook trying to get into the game as well with their Libra coin, whether he thinks they are going to be a dominant player in this space or not. What is something that I found really interesting is that public are starting to use this blockchain technology already, and I didn't really understand how or where this was being utilized. And he kind of gives his predictions on how it is going to become more and more common for normal people to utilize this storage system as well. He is a super intelligent dude. This was a very big learning experience for myself and producer Carl. He runs a couple companies. One, the Koi Research Group, which is a cryptocurrency consulting business, and Blockwise, which is a non-profit blockchain advocacy and education initiative, which is a mouthful. Very, very fun podcast tonight. I hope you find a ton of value from it. If you do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. We would love to hear your thoughts. Later. What's going on, Chase?
Not much.
Thanks for coming on the show, man. I'm super pumped. I know Carl has been looking forward to this for a long time.
Is Carl really into blockchain cryptocurrencies or what?
Carl is ultra curious.
I like to pretend that I understand, but I'm just super glad you're here.
I asked him a few questions before the show.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Started sweating a bit.
One was, do you know what quantum computing is? And he looked at me, he's like, oh, no.
That one's really hard to explain. A little adjacent to blockchain.
So I posted something on Instagram today, just saying like, if anyone has questions about blockchain, crypto, shoot me a message and I'll fire them out tonight. And one of the guys asked, you can answer this or not, but I just think it's a funny question because I don't understand even how to say it. How will quantum computing affect the integrity, security of the blockchain?
Good. Great question.
Is that a good question?
It is a good question.
Should we start there or should we start a little more basic?
We can start there. I'm happy starting there, but that is definitely not basic. Yeah, it's basically the encryption methods that secure all of Bitcoin and digital currencies. Blockchain, for the most part, can be attacked using quantum computing.
Okay.
In a way that basically it would render everything built using this encryption method to be useless.
Okay.
For anyone who has use of this quantum computer that fast.
So just because computers aren't able to do that right now, that's why the blockchain is so secure?
Pretty much, yeah. But even a quantum computer, we have quantum computers now. They can't do it. They're worlds away still from doing it. They still quantum computing is a big leap, but it itself needs to make a big leap before it can challenge the encryption methods of blockchains. And even when we're like close, they'll be like, wait, we need a new encryption method. Or maybe the quantum computer would be doing some sort of defense against other quantum computers. But this is definitely like 7 levels above where we need to be at the moment.
Let's start
easy. Yeah, let's start a little bit easier. I think for a lot of people, you hear these terms, blockchain, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, of course.
Yeah.
And they don't really understand how they work together. But can you maybe just define the two separately? So blockchain versus cryptocurrency?
Yep. So let's start with Bitcoin.
Okay.
Bitcoin was the first real known digital currency. There was other attempts, but nothing that used this blockchain. So there was digital currencies before, but they were just using a database and you still had to trust a person or a company to make sure that dollar value of coins is actually held by that company.
Yeah.
Whereas with Bitcoin, they kind of just said, hey, we need a digital money, but no one can own it. The reason no one can own it is because whoever owns it will corrupt it. Yeah. And it needed to run in such a way that multiple people needed to know who owns what Bitcoin at any point in time.
Okay.
So they created this ledger system. So a ledger, same thing a bank uses to understand who owns what dollars or whatever currency you're working with.
Sure.
Well, a blockchain Bitcoin's blockchain is a simple ledger that keeps track of who owns what Bitcoin.
So blockchain was built because this idea of Bitcoin was created?
Yes.
Okay.
Bitcoin is the first implementation of a blockchain on a wide scale for sure. It was like the first real introduction of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with crypto then.
Okay.
We talked before the show just about some of them having backing in terms of like cash or US dollars or whatever it was. But Bitcoin does not.
Nope.
So to me, it seems more of like a stock in today's terms, not a currency. But how is it a currency?
Like, what value does Bitcoin have?
Yeah. Or
Why
how
is
is
it
the
worth so
value
much?
interpreted?
Well, usually the best way to answer the question is, well, where does the Canadian or US dollar come from? It comes from this
Sure.
belief that it's exchangeable and it represents value that you can exchange for someone else's value somewhere else.
Sure.
The dollar really has no value. But at the beginning, it was backed by gold.
Sure.
And then they just scaled it off gold. And then it's like, that's just this paper that you use to represent value. Well, Bitcoin, yeah, it had no value at the beginning, but people that have a use for it have a demand for it. So, for instance, I need to pay designers in India. Bitcoin's now illegal in India because it'll probably put their main bank out of business from all the international payments and freelancers and everybody in India. But if it wasn't illegal and I want to pay my design team, all I have to do is send Bitcoin from an address to an address. Now, because it's illegal, I couldn't do that. I've gone through so many different methods to try to figure out how to send this simple value to get my design work done. And they're a great team. I want to keep working with them, but it's so cumbersome using the banks. I actually went to RBC and I said, here's their banking information. Here's the IFSC code and all the other stuff you need to send this bank wire. And they're like, great, we can't do it. I was like, it's your bank.
And you're sending it to another bank in India.
Yeah. I think there's only one main bank in India.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
There's one bank. Yeah.
Yeah. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, it was just really frustrating. And this is an example from last month. This isn't the first time that this problem has come up in my life. And that's just one simple example of I need to send value and I don't want anybody in the way. I don't want anybody to tell me it's going to take a few days or it's in transit or, oh, it's gone, it's missing. Yeah. We need to find it. Find it? What? No. Let my value, my Bitcoin, whatever it is, just go directly from person to person. So that's really where the value and the demand of people that need that is where the demand of Bitcoin comes from. As long as people still need to be buying it, then there's demand for it. However, when people see that this innovation is coming about and it's going up in value, people speculate on the value and they go, wow, this is great. Everyone's going to use this. I'm going to buy a whole bunch now and not use it for that purpose at all and just hold on to it because everyone else is going to use it for that purpose. And the value will keep going up, which is somewhat true, but that's why you see these huge swings up and down as people just get way too excited and then crashes down to everyone's not excited at all anymore. And
you said that India made Bitcoin illegal?
Well, that's what my design team told me.
But what does that mean, right? If it's decentralized, if it's all peer-to-peer, how does that, being illegal, how does that affect Bitcoin in India?
Great question. They can't stop it at all. My design team in India could create a wallet and I can send it to it. Yeah. Or I could create the wallet, send it to them, give them the password to the wallet, the private key to get in, and voila, they now have access to this money. But I think it's when you try to exchange it back into their local currency and send it to the bank account, it might raise a red flag and they can try to stop all the onboard and on-ramps and off-ramps.
Is that becoming more common? Countries having issues with it?
Not necessarily. Like,
I think they're just not ready for it and they don't know what to do about it.
yeah, every country's kind of taking it differently. Like, smaller countries are embracing it because, like, especially smaller countries in the EU, because they're already using someone else's currency. But if you're someone like Venezuela, where your currency is already, not quite stable, and then people are switching to Bitcoin, that just makes it more unstable. So it can create problems as people flee away from something they don't trust anymore. And during the Bitcoin's peaks, the value in Venezuela was like 30% higher or 40% higher, just because the demand locally was so much higher.
How does that make sense?
It's also a good question.
So it's decentralized. It's the same throughout the world.
Yeah.
But in Venezuela, they're paying 30% more. I don't understand that.
Well, since it's peer-to-peer, it's whatever the exchange is being made, that price is being met. And there's many places around the world where price is being agreed to. So these different exchanges that keep this data public will be like, the last trade executed on our trade platform was Bitcoin at $12,000. Therefore, the price on that exchange at that point in time was $12,000. Meanwhile, on another exchange, it could be $13,000. And then in the middle, there's the people that make the money from buying from exchange A and selling on exchange B, and those people are called arbitrage, or taking advantage of the arbitrage opportunities.
Can you explain an exchange?
An exchange,
and there's like hundreds of these.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, probably more.
Okay.
Lots of sketchy ones. A few of them that you like hear in the news that come up, like Quadriga. Have you heard about that? The whole Mount Gox thing too, like a few years ago. Like you hear about these going up every once in a while.
Yeah, Quadriga is a nice local story.
In order for me to pay you Bitcoin,
yeah,
it needs to be through an exchange?
Nope. No. So that's...
so what's the purpose of the exchange then?
If you don't know someone you can buy it off of, you need to go to a place where they have a pool
like
that you can buy
market.
it from. Exactly. It's the exact same, except... No, it's pretty much the exact same.
Okay.
And you can have a stock traded in other markets that's the same stock.
Right.
I guess it's probably closer to a commodity in that regard.
But now, like you buy it on this exchange, and you're supposed to pull it off and put it into your own bank, into your own hardware wallet. So then it's your own money, right? If you're leaving money on these exchanges, like that's how you lose it, because they go down, right? Or they disappear, or they just stop working, or whatever, and your money goes poof with it.
Yeah, pretty much. So
can we talk about storage then?
Yeah, perfect.
Because that's confusing as well.
That's a big issue, I feel.
So an exchange is doing a service for you. So if we're talking like a commodity, we'll pretend like they're actually holding on to the gold or the oil for you until you show up and take it away from them. Sure. Now that creates some custodial issues if these people are holding all these assets that are yours that they have full access to.
Okay.
Especially when it's a digital currency.
Sure.
And, that's essentially the service they're doing is just holding your assets and allowing you to exchange with others in one place. It does create issues. What you're supposed to do is make the exchange peer-to-peer or on exchange. Then you send it from that wallet to a wallet only you have the keys for. You have this thing called the seed phrase and the private key to what's your wallet. No one else has access to it. And once it's sent to this new wallet or different wallet, then it's out of the hands of the exchange and it's yours. No one else can touch it.
And these wallets are stored where?
In your desk, wherever you want.
So
they're like little USB guys.
You just can be.
Hold them on USBs?
Yeah, it can be.
Can be, yeah.
There's different types.
Yeah, so to back up, make it a little more simple, the wallet is, all it is like an account number. That's it. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. So this account number lives on the blockchain, this database, this ledger that everyone has access to look at who owns what. And what accounts, it's all public. You can look, it wouldn't say, my Chase Cedar's wallet, it would say 1x005, whatever, long string. But if you knew it was mine, you would look at it and see all the transactions that have come and left from that wallet. It's all public for the Bitcoin blockchain. That is.
So is that something you want to be fairly private about then? Like if Carl's like, hey, I just bought $50,000 worth of Bitcoin.
I wish.
I'm gonna go rob Carl and I'm gonna steal his USB.
If I have it written down on a piece of paper, you could.
Yep. Yeah. So it's
Why?
like, it's all it is. You have this wallet address. That's like your address, like home address.
Mhm.
You have this key, which is like your key to your house, right? If you give that key to someone else, they can get in your house.
It's just a password.
Yeah, basically. Now, if you lose your key, there is this thing called a seed phrase, which is basically a backup, but it's just as valuable as the key, and it's just another key. Okay, so the hardware
Yeah.
comes into place when you want another layer of security. So, like, you have to press a physical button and have the pin to this little USB device to
Right.
sign the transaction.
Okay.
And that's where another layer of security comes in, because now they literally have to physically have the hardware wallet and know your PIN in order to make a transaction or to move money from that wallet.
So go ahead.
So you can store Bitcoin on your computer, like in a drive or whatever. But the thing is, your computer is connected to the internet, so it's hackable, right? So
Right.
there's a chance someone has access to it.
Right. I forgot my question.
Sorry.
Yeah, you need to.
If these exchanges go under or
Yeah.
like disappear and I've got Bitcoin on there, is it recoverable or
Well-
just disappears?
Quadriga went down a few months ago, and I'm putting in my claim for my few $100 that I'm owed. And that's just because they were able to recover some,
Oh.
cash and other valuables. I'm not sure how much, but it's estimated only to be about 10% of what is owed.
Jeez.
So, yeah, everyone's getting a nice slash on what they had held in reserves at
So
Quadriga.
Quadriga is just an exchange that people can purchase from and also leave it stored there.
They
but
want to,
It's not smart to leave stuff stored on it.
for exactly
Yeah.
this reason.
Okay.
but they can't force you to like take it off. I guess they could, but it's kind of weird.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like it's in their best interests for you to have those funds easily available to make trades,
Right.
because the more trades you make, the more money they make.
Right.
So they're not going to say, "Hey, everyone move their funds off. We're not secure," because that means they're probably not going to have fewer users and lower revenues.
So people who like day trade and stuff, they just leave their money on exchanges because it's always moving
Right.
between exchanges too and stuff like that.
Do stock exchanges ever have that issue? No.
Not the same way, no.
This is just so new.
It's because it's all digital, and someone could have taken all of the Bitcoin from the exchange 3 years ago, but as long as they have the float to keep all the withdrawals processing, people won't really know,
Right.
because it's all on the back end.
Right.
Now, because of everything that's happened, there's new regulations being put in place, and exchanges are being now treated a lot more like banks. They have to get a money service business license, which is like $1 million a year or something, and they have all of these duties that now they have to follow, which really makes it changes the game quite a bit, especially here in Canada.
Is there any that you would recommend or you trust?
Exchanges?
Exchanges.
Yeah. There's like the biggest one that's trying to go public not locally, but in Canada is CoinSquare. But they have decently high fees. So basically, the higher the fee, the more money they're making, the more likely they're legit. But at the same time, if you could just go to the cheaper exchange, make your exchange, send it to your wallet right away, then if you know what you're doing, it's okay. The people that are like making large transactions, they usually don't go to an exchange. They'll do it over the counter or directly peer-to-peer with someone. And now there's not really as much of a trace or anything there. Just two wallets making an exchange that no one knows the owners of.
Where are you finding that information of who has a ton of Bitcoin if you're not going through an exchange?
There's lots of services that do OTC. So OTC, over the counter, basically means that if you're gonna buy or sell, let's say $100,000 of Bitcoin, you're gonna move the market. You're gonna move the market fairly significantly if it's on a smaller exchange or isn't much volumes in that day. So you don't really want to move the market and have to either pay way more on the way up or change the price adversely against you. Instead, you just set a rate. You're like, this is the going rate. Would you like to make the trade at this rate for all of this Bitcoin over the counter? A lot easier. Then you fix a rate too. You don't have to sell it to all the people willing to buy on the way down.
Can you explain mining? and where the Bitcoin comes from.
Okay, so
And is mining across the board in crypto? Or is
what
it
do you mean by
specific?
across the board?
Like, does
You have to
every
mine every coin.
cryptocurrency need miners?
No, not necessarily,
Okay.
but every cryptocurrency needs to be maintained by some sort of a network, whether it's like there are blockchains now being run on, IBM's platforms that it's technically using blockchain technology, but it's completely on a cloud-based system on a centralized server somewhere. So yeah, it's a tough question to answer. Yes, all the public cryptocurrencies and like Bitcoin, yes, they require mining. And the act of mining is using your computing power to essentially make the network really difficult to hack. And in exchange, you get compensated in Bitcoin.
So they're not like the term mining sounds like you're finding something.
Yeah.
So they're not finding new Bitcoin. They're making
kind
the
of
chain
are.
harder to penetrate.
So when they first created the Bitcoin blockchain, they created an embedded, incentive scheme so that people that mine it get more okay, I'll back up. There are 21 million Bitcoins ever to be released. There are 16.5 million or so released now.
Okay.
Every block, every 10 minutes of information, there's a reward. And all the miners are racing to kind of almost guess a password for this reward. The reward goes down over time because as Bitcoin's price goes up and becomes more mainstream, the reward gets bigger and bigger. So they cut it in half every few years. Yes. So there are new Bitcoins being released that are awarded to miners.
Okay.
But when new Bitcoins are done, so when we've run out of new Bitcoins and we hit that 21 million or close to it, it just transitions to transaction fees. So it's kind of a smooth process, or should be smooth process. And those transaction fees would compensate the miners just as these new Bitcoins were compensating the miners before.
So it's a finite amount of 21 million Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Where did that number come from? It's just such a random number.
It was just picked.
Satoshi, man, you gotta ask him.
Yeah, this mysterious creator of Bitcoin decided 21 million.
How long ago was that?
2008,
2009, yeah.
So like no one really knows who he is still, or if it was a group of people or what.
No, a lot of good theories, but
Is he
no
alive?
one really knows.
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah,
why
no
doesn't
one
anyone know who he is?
Does anyone know how much Bitcoin that group is holding?
Well, the Satoshi's wallet
Yeah.
at the very beginning was he had a miner
Mm-hmm.
and was sending all the contributions of that miner to this one wallet.
Oh, jeez.
But the wallet has never made a transaction.
Really?
Now, the wallet holds a lot of Bitcoin, but I'm blanking on the actual number. But it's a small
healthy
percentage
amount.
of the whole 21 million.
And you can buy like percentages of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You can buy
Oh,
$10 worth of Bitcoin, even
Yeah.
though it's trading at 11 grand or
Yeah,
whatever.
there's 8 decimal places.
Okay.
So yeah, you can get very, very granular with how much Bitcoin you own. It makes it quite easy when, if you need to buy something for $450, you can actually pay $450 worth of Bitcoin.
Right.
Mm.
You don't have to send $12,000.
And get like Canadian cash back or something.
Yeah, you guys do money back? Can I get that in 20s?
Is it being used as like day-to-day currency yet?
Yeah. Like
Not
across
often?
borders mainly, just
Okay.
because that's where the biggest friction is.
Okay.
And between people that are really into the industry, and some businesses are, making crypto payments because it's easier, it's faster.
You see it every once in a while, like businesses will have like whatever, like a code or whatever that you can just send them money to, or they accept Bitcoin or whatever. But like,
It's pretty easy. Just
Is
go,
it?
here's my address.
and that's
Send
it,
it
right?
there.
Send, yeah.
Yeah.
What are Bitcoin's transfer fees right now? I guess
It always depends.
depends, right?
Like you can Google it at any point in time and go to blockchain.info, and there's charts for there's like a lineup of people trying to get transactions through at a given point in time. And if you're willing to pay a little more, you're going to get
Yeah,
bumped to the top
right.
of the line.
Right.
So, I mean, right now it should be pretty reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
There's different like upgrades in Bitcoin that have occurred that usually confuse a lot of people, and I won't get into. But it used to be more expensive. Now it's less expensive because of these upgrades. And
Are you talking about like the splits, like Bitcoin Cash and stuff, or is that something completely different?
it's definitely related.
Yeah.
So basically, because of these debates on how to scale Bitcoin, that's where we saw these splits.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So like Bitcoin Cash didn't want the upgrade, or some would not consider it an upgrade, I guess, of the Lightning Network. And the Lightning Network is basically a blockchain on top of a blockchain, so they can package transactions and get a lot more throughput on
Just trying to
the
make it
main
more
chain.
efficient kind of thing.
Kind of, yeah. But then people are going, you're taking away from the
Right.
integrity of the main chain system, and you're coining a whole nother system. Yeah, now there could be bugs. I don't know, but people are concerned, and that's why Bitcoin Cash became a thing. But the Lightning Network has by far taken dominance over any of the forks.
Is there security problems with giving out your wallet number though? Like if I give you, say you're going to e-transfer me some money or something, I give you my bank account number. You can't see how much money I have in my bank account.
Definitely not.
If I give
No,
you
that
my
would be
wallet number, you
concerning.
can see what is in the wallet, right?
In Bitcoin, yes.
So if I have $1 million in Bitcoin sitting in there, you can see it. Does that not pose a fairly large threat of security?
It can.
Yeah.
That's why people will have multiple wallets. They'll split up funds across multiple smaller wallets, or they will never tell anybody they own said wallet. If it's like one over-the-counter transaction or something, or from a miner, basically bringing all the Bitcoins into the wallet. So then that's the only trace is just from this one miner putting it into this wallet. You don't know what country they're in or anything. But if you go, hey, world, send me money or send me Bitcoin at this address, and they look at the address and they're like, whoa, ooh, it's a lot of money there. Yeah, you kind of put a target on your head.
Yeah.
Or on your wallet, I should say.
Even like business transactions, if you're getting paid in Bitcoin, your wallet number's out there. How are you giving people your wallet number?
Yeah.
Over email or like something that is not that secure?
That is a problem. And a company called blockchain.com is a major wallet provider, and they create a new wallet address for every single transaction, and then basically do all the back end work to like have it in one wallet, but it's almost like
But the number changes every transaction.
so it's almost like that one wallet was just used for that one transaction. And if you were to look into it, you're like, oh, look, that wallet made one transaction ever, right?
Right. Then you have no idea. Right.
Yeah,
Is Bitcoin a long-term currency?
I would say it is, yeah.
Or is it just the big new first one? No, I guess it's not new. It's 10 years old, but it's the biggest one of the first generation of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I would say so. Like Bitcoin is its own beast because it was first and has so much computation power being put into its blockchain. It makes it very secure. There's a large network of people that are developers or miners or whatever that have a vested interest in the success of Bitcoin. And when you have something that big, it's not going to stop. It's not going away tomorrow. And these speculation bubbles will probably just keep continuing to happen.
So even though there's like coins that are much more efficient and like have lower transactional fees and stuff, you don't think any of that will overcome Bitcoin?
No, they'll all have their own little niche uses. We're seeing like coins popping up for games and coins popping up for little marketplaces over here. And because it's a digital currency, there are services where I could send literally any coin that is on a major exchange, send it to you, but have it be exchanged at market rate and put in whatever coin that you want to be holding and put into your wallet. So then you can go, well, I only want to be sent Bitcoin. I'll be like, well, I have this Dogecoin stuff. And you'll be like, well, whatever, just send it to this address. It'll convert it and put it into Bitcoin at the same value of Dogecoin to Bitcoin ratio.
Okay. If that's true that you can just convert it, where's that Bitcoin coming from? Because there's a finite amount. Right?
Where's it coming from?
Yeah.
It'd be coming from a wallet that you have access to. You have the private key to, and you can sign a transaction to send it somewhere else.
Okay, but my question is, there's 21 million Bitcoin.
Yeah.
If I send you Dogecoin, Whatever it
Okay.
is. I don't know what it is.
It's a service. There's like
Is it creating, but it sounds like it's creating new Bitcoin.
no.
So then where is
You're
that
just trading
Bitcoin
the
coming
value
from?
of your Dogecoin, right?
But where is that
It's-
Bitcoin coming from
It's like
that you're creating?
no, you're not creating it. You owned it. You bought it on exchange. You had it somehow, or
But you
Dogecoin,
own
for instance.
Dogecoin now.
Okay, sorry. Going back to the Dogecoin example. I already had it. I bought it or I mined it or I already have this value. I could go to an exchange it for Bitcoin and then send that Bitcoin to you. Or there's third parties that just do that without having to talk to anybody. You just send it, you say what you want, and it'll do the transaction, send it to your wallet automatically. It's a service. It's an exchange.
It's like it would be like a bank
Yeah.
taking in
Kind of.
US money and getting Canadian out.
Sure.
Kind of.
No middle
Kind of.
step. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's spot on. It's just using another service that would do the conversion.
Do you understand my confusion though?
Yeah, I do.
If there's only 21 million and
But
I
he's
have,
not-
I have
he's- you already
$100
own
worth
it.
of Dogecoin,
Yeah.
where am I getting the Bitcoin from to
But
exchange
the
it?
Doge
Has to
has a
come from
value.
someone
The
else that
Doge
owns
is
it.
buying the Bitcoin.
It's like you're essentially
Yeah, but
like
you're buying
trading
it from
Canadian
something,
for American
from
money.
someone.
Someone that wants to buy Doge
Yeah, right.
with Bitcoin,
What if no one wants to buy Doge then you can't convert it?
well, then it wouldn't have a value to begin with.
Value drops.
If no one wants it, then why does it have a value?
Good point.
Yeah.
Dogecoin.
I love using the example of Dogecoin because Dogecoin
Is that a real coin?
It
It's
is
just
a real
like-
coin.
yeah.
It was created as a meme coin when Bitcoin was taking off in like 2013 or
But
something.
then it blew up a little bit.
Well, it blew up because they basically copy and pasted the public code to create Bitcoin, and they're like, we can do this too. But they made it a joke, and it was when the Doge meme was trending everywhere. And just the thought of a Dogecoin, they created this hype video for it, and it's like this
People
Doge
bought
going
it.
to the moon and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty funny, and people buy it just as a novelty. I think they use it. They did use it for like tips and tipping people,
Yeah.
but I don't really know how much traction that has.
Do you have any Dogecoin, Kyle?
No, that was one I stayed away from.
Not anymore, right?
No,
You converted it.
it's all gone.
Investing in crypto.
Yeah.
What do you look for?
I look for something that has a real demand for, like a real business demand, something that could be like built in with existing systems
Okay.
that like just improves them or replaces them. Or on the complete flip side, there's I don't know why I'm blanking on the name at the moment, but there's this virtual reality land where you can purchase land. It's like a virtual Earth, essentially, and you buy virtual land and you can create a virtual business on your virtual land. And there's services where you can get a virtual mortgage on your virtual land. So that if your business, I don't know, if maybe you're making money, you can pay off your mortgage. I don't know necessarily what the business model is on that, but yeah, you can create, like, let's say a school, for instance. Why are we all going into this really expensive brick and mortar thing? You can put on a VR headset, sit at home in your big comfy chair, and have your teachers stand in front of you and teach just the way that they would anyway, but you save a lot of money. But
I don't think I'd go to that school
Schools,
either.
yeah.
Carl.
That's a little Decentraland. That's what it's called.
Is it?
Yeah.
And it's run off a blockchain?
The land is, and then the
Mhm.
coins that you'd use to purchase are too.
Oh,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah. So no one can ever take your land away from you.
Is there new coins popping up all the time?
Oh yeah.
Anyone can create a coin.
Oh yeah.
You just need to get the back
that.
in. Yeah.
It's basically like a template at this point. So like the Ethereum network was the one that came after Bitcoin
Yeah.
and allowed people to like create their own coins like that. Like no problem. It's like, here's the template. Have at her. And people did, and that's how, the 2017, 2018 crypto boom happened. Everyone's like, I've got a coin. I've got a coin. Mine does this. Mine
Yeah,
does that.
it was
Give me
insane.
$100 million and maybe it'll do more things. And then they raise all this money and have all these concerns with regulators. And well, some of them might build something cool, but there's a lot that probably won't. And there's also the problem that they raised the money in Ethereum and then the price of Ethereum dropped, and then all of their planning is, kind of shot when the value is now half. You raise $50 million, now you have 25 million. All right, your plans are
That's
going
the
to change a
problem.
little bit.
Yeah.
Is Ethereum still number 2?
Sorry?
Is Ethereum still number 2?
Yeah, it should be.
Is it not even close though? Bitcoin just kind of rules it right now.
It's big difference. Yeah. Bitcoin is, yeah, I'm not going to throw numbers around right now, but it's like 10 times bigger,
Yeah.
I'd say. Yeah.
Do you see it
Don't-
getting to a point where like country money just goes out the window? Doesn't mean anything anymore?
It's a tough question. I'd say no, because countries are still going to want to collect taxes and they're still going to do it in their own currencies.
That's the issue, right? Yeah.
But what they probably would do is create their own coin, centralize it, but have all the abilities of a digital currency. And then every time that my business makes a transaction,
They have
I
all
don't
the
have, yeah, exactly. I don't have to like send them at the end of the year
Right.
my taxes and everything. They'll go, no, we know everything you did and you labeled it at the time you did it, so taxes are done.
How much more efficient would that be?
That's what I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like when we talk about like criminals using Bitcoin and stuff, how does that make sense if everything's tracked? Isn't that like,
Yeah.
how does that work?
Well, a lot of criminals didn't know that at the beginning.
The whole Silk Road thing and all that.
Yeah, Ross Albright was the mastermind, one of the masterminds behind that. And yeah, he got caught.
Is that how it happened? They
Yeah,
eventually
they're-
just traced the Bitcoin.
Yeah, they're able to trace it all back through the different wallets. They tried to disguise it, but I mean, every transaction is public. You just have to map it out and where everything went.
How do they know that that specific person owned the wallet?
Because,
Just follow the money, right?
well, yeah, because it was stolen and basically they knew who owned it, or like they knew what Bitcoin was taken
Right.
and it was sent to a new wallet. So they're like, well, that's the wallet that stole it. And they just have to follow all the transactions from that wallet.
Mm.
Yeah. But there are privacy coins that
Right.
will basically scramble the sender and receiver at the time. And you won't be able to know who owns what really ever. Some are more secure than others. Monero being definitely the
Monero,
most
I've
secure.
heard of that. Yeah. So you can buy a Bitcoin, switch it to Monero, send it, and then switch it back.
Yep. Shouldn't be advocating for this, but yeah. Yeah.
You're not saying you do it. You're just saying it's possible.
I'm just saying, yeah,
That's smart.
the technology's out there. It's pretty cool.
I like that idea, actually. I never really thought about that. Just each country and creating their own individual coin. So
Mhm.
that's trackable.
It'd be the easiest way to do it.
Mhm.
And Facebook could just, embed the USD coin into their app and get all the benefits they were trying to get anyway,
Right.
but not have this monopolistic control over the money supply that is within Facebook's ecosystem.
Why are they creating a coin?
There's a lot of value to it.
Yeah.
So you think of what Facebook does, they connect marketers with potential, eyeballs.
Mhm.
And if they know what you're purchasing, that's very valuable data. Whether or not they'll have full access to the data, I'm sure they would have some access. If they know what you buy, how you buy, what your spending patterns are like, that's really valuable back to the advertisers. This
Everything,
person- yeah.
just everything is about advertising, eh?
If you're
yeah.
using their coin, then they can track what you're spending it on.
Possibly. It's not clear exactly how private this platform will be, but yes, they could easily build it that way. So it's like, oh, maybe don't show this guy bike ads because he bought one 3 months ago, right? Like, it could be really helpful, but it's also kind of creepy.
Totally. Yeah. Does that bug you? The privacy stuff?
No, because wait, bug me how? Like it being not private?
How like advertisers know everything about you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I Google barbecue at Home Depot, and then 30 seconds later, I have a Facebook ad that is right in the front of my Facebook feed.
I found it a lot creepier until I just fully understood it all.
Yeah.
And it's just this Facebook, pixel that's tracking you around, and you just have to know to use a browser that's not going to allow you to be followed around, and the browser extensions that prevent any ads and anybody else following you around. But yeah, it's creepy, but to the average person, it's a benefit to a business and it's a benefit to the average person. So in aggregate, it's better. It's just kind of creepy sometimes.
Do you have any more questions on crypto, Carl?
I was gonna say we were talking about like blockchain and stuff. So we know all these cryptocurrencies like coins and stuff, but what else can blockchain be used for?
Is blockchain used for other crypto as well?
Yes.
Isn't all
So-
crypto blockchain?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. So this Shigetoshi, whatever guy.
Yeah.
Is that what his name is?
Yeah.
Satoshi.
Yeah, I just made that
Close
up.
enough.
There's a baseball player named Shigetoshi Hasegawa, and that's how I just came up with that. Anyway, this guy created Bitcoin.
Yep.
Well, he created blockchain.
Created blockchain to host Bitcoin, basically, to trade Bitcoin.
Well, he
store
needed to
Bitcoin.
create this blockchain system in order for Bitcoin to ever be able to exist. So it's kind of the blockchain needed to come first. And he's like, well, let's put a unit of value on it.
Right.
And then that's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then other currency was created to be on this platform as well.
They just copy the blockchain.
They create their own blockchain?
Okay. So after Bitcoin's coding language is a little more complex than most people would be able to pick up really quickly and build something on.
Okay.
But you can build something on Bitcoin's platform. It's just way more difficult. Like an app, for instance, that does something else.
Okay.
Like there's a gambling app that is built on Bitcoin. It's called Satoshi Spin, and literally you just kind of send money to this wallet address, hit spin, and maybe you'll get more sent, or maybe you won't. But you can prove the odds. You can look into the code and be like, oh, okay, I understand that the house only has a 2%, benefit, which is worlds apart from your average casino. A 2% edge on the casino would be nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But
So that's one use.
yeah, so that's one use.
Games.
A unit of value that can be exchanged.
Okay.
Very, very simple.
Mhm.
After that, I'd say data would be the next most clear use for.
So like
blockchain.
hospital records, documents, stuff like that.
Sure. That could be applicable.
Is anyone using it currently for that though?
Oh yeah.
They are.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a platform called Storj, STORJ, that it decentralizes the excess storage on your computer, and you could be giving up, gigabytes of data, and someone on the other side of the world can be renting it, but in a decentralized way, and you're only holding like a little shard of the data, and then when they try to pull the data together, all these shards come back to create what they're trying to pull. So it's very secure.
Insane.
Your computer has an encrypted shard of data, which obviously you're not going to have any value for. You're not going to want to try to decrypt and just you don't have full access ever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a use that isn't necessarily a currency, but you do have to use this platform's embedded currency to pay for that service, which then creates a demand for that coin. The developers of that coin hold on to a small supply at the beginning, so that as the demand picks up, their equity, so to speak, goes up in this coin, and then they can sell it on the market and cash out in a way that isn't necessarily an IPO or like a big equity sale, like a private company would. Very different.
Do you think the cloud is eventually going to run on blockchain?
It's a funny question because the cloud really is just it's a data center. It's a server, right?
So
and the blockchain is like a distributed server. So they're kind of just like two different types of cloud.
There's no connection. Right, I see.
In a true sense, blockchain is really the only cloud. When you consider Google the cloud, well, no, they're just a data center that called themselves, this cloud of whatever cloud even means.
Yeah.
They're just providing, a basic service of your database servers.
Then you look confused.
This is a lot, Carl. This is a lot.
I like this though. I see the slight mind blown a little bit in the back
That
of the
was
eyes.
insane.
The gears are working.
Oh yeah. How you can store stuff on other people's computers and it just gets spread out across.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So you're storing it on multiple computers, right?
Yep.
Which makes it super, super safe.
And then you can program it so that there's redundancies in place. Maybe every shard has actually copied 3 shards. So then if there's ever a complication, then, you'd still be able to pull it together. And there's so many different ways that technology can be built. And the fact that our money is not digital, it is digital, and the fact that we send e-transfers, but it's really not because it's all these companies that are really doing it and they're just moving numbers around.
That's exactly I've talked to you about this, right? Yeah. I have whatever, you go online banking, you go to your savings account, you have this much money. What does that mean? Isn't it just a number on this website? Is there you can't go to the bank and pull out that money in cash, right?
That's the idea.
Is it
is you
backed?
can.
Okay. A bank, only has to hold a fraction of the deposits in reserve. So if everybody at a bank tried to pull out everything they owned, there wouldn't be enough for everybody. And that's called a bank run. And it's a big issue. And there's some things in place to try to prevent that. Like here in Canada, we have this deposit insurance at every bank. Up to $100,000 is secured by the Canadian government. But after that, let's say you have $1 million and the bank goes under. Well, here's your 100 grand. Goodbye, 900,000. That's the way the game works.
So it'd be like an exchange going under.
Exactly, yeah. But an exchange, you hope, isn't doing fractional reserve banking and right off the top taking your 90%.
Looking at you, RBC.
Yeah, and here in Canada, I don't think it's actually 10%. It would be a little bit higher.
I thought it was 20 for some reason.
It could be closer to 20. In the US, it was around 10 during
really?
Like when the time of the financial crisis. I think it was around 10 too. So it's a high leverage zone where you can get a lot of growth out of if you are running at 10% fractional reserve banking, but it's a little riskier.
But I mean, those numbers are just the bank ledger, right? There's nothing backing them really.
Yep. Well, and then there's loans that they're giving out, so they're creating more money on top of it. So like that money, like they just have this money in the bank, and then they write a loan. Well, that money never existed before. It's just kind of a stake on this like pool that they hold on to that they never owned any of to begin with. Now, a credit union, they do have to hold one to one, the same amount, which is why people.
You don't see them as much, or they're smaller, right?
Yeah, they don't necessarily have the leverage to really dig in and make some more profits off their lending, but they are a little more safe, and they will actually hold all of your assets for you and not do this fractional stuff.
Can you explain decentralization?
Okay.
Because everyone throws that word around, like everyone knows what it means, but I don't know if anyone, or I don't know if most people actually understand what
Denny doesn't know what it
decentralization means. I get the idea. I haven't done that much research, and I am in no way whatsoever a blockchain expert.
Okay, so pure decentralization is very difficult. It requires basically building the perfect system that incentivizes every group of people to participate in the way that needs to be participated for it to sustain for a long period of time.
Okay.
Bitcoin is a good example. All it does is this simple, keep track of who owns what, but there's this pool of miners and nodes and developers and all these people that all have this interest in the success of Bitcoin, and together this network can succeed. But without one of these aspects, if there's like a really big software bug in the code, well, that could just destroy everything. Now, I'm not sure what that would look like. I'm not, I'm technical, but I'm not necessarily a blockchain developer. So I don't know what that bug would look like, but I know it is possible. But that being said, there's a lot of people checking everything that happens before it gets deployed, because there's so many people with this interest in it. And before a software upgrade gets implemented, the miners basically get to say they can choose to mine.
They decide, eh?
Yeah. So it's like a fully decentralized network is like a fully democratic platform where everybody that can contribute, anybody can plug into, anybody can compensate or be paid from it. Or it's difficult to do though. So a lot of platforms will say decentralized, but be pretty centralized until they're established enough to actually try to do it. But it's pretty difficult.
But like being decentralized, like at the most basic level, it's just Denny being able to send money to you and have no third person interference, right?
100%. Yeah. So like there's lots of services out there that are really just software, but this service is a company and they take all your information and hold on to that information. Well, if I could cut them out and just use the software, I would prefer to do that.
Right.
Yeah. So I like to think, like, I worked for a small stint at Sun Life with a financial advisor, and the amount of paperwork and forms and just BS that you have to like collect.
I can imagine, dude.
But it's the same for every person, and this person has this information somewhere. If they just had a digital representation of it somewhere, and they can just go send all of these records, like boop 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 boop, send. It could be like a view only to just this one person, or sent right to head office and there isn't this advisor in the way ever. There's the advisor, and then there's the advisor's assistant, and they get all this information. They have to put it into a little locked little cabinet. It has to be, properly labeled. Then the door needs to be locked on the office at all times.
So crazy.
And if anything goes wrong, they nail the advisor for not doing the job right. So it's like the advisor just has this constant paperwork, admin headache of collecting signatures and verifications and approvals, and just when most of it could be just check boxes saying, yep, I'll use my wallet to sign off. This is me. All right. Am I approved for my insurance yet?
So you're saying there's a lot of potential behind blockchain.
Oh, when you realize how much money the insurance companies make, yeah, if you actually completely got rid of the company and just put the service of insurance in there, it'd be a fraction of the cost. And we would all be able to be insured for, life and health or critical illness and all this stuff at probably like half or less. There's no employees or anything. It's just, I pay money to put in a pool, and if I get critically injured, you pay me the lump sum you agreed to pay me. I don't want anything else in the way. Maybe just the doctor saying I'm critically injured or whatever, some sort of verification of, it's true. But after that, we don't need all of these other third parties and people in the way holding data. The advisors have to hold the data. They have to, legally.
Is there any flaws in the blockchain? And where I'm going with this is this the long-term system that's going to be used, or is someone right now understanding how blockchain works and building a better, more decentralized, a better system?
Okay. So one thing I should make clear, a blockchain is almost always going to be more expensive than just a normal database.
Okay.
Because you have all these parties in place and that need to be compensated. Now, and a database is cheap. It's just a computer saying, yeah, I'm online. That's the information. I'll send it back to you. That's cheap. And for most services, you want fast and cheap, and the security and the privacy and all that or whatever. It's like, well, I don't really care. I'm on Craigslist at the moment. I don't need this to be running on a blockchain in the slightest. But when it gets to that next step, the one little component where you need maybe multiple people with access to the same data, or a currency aspect where you need to make a payment and you don't want to have to embed, Stripe, and then Stripe takes the 3% fee, and then Stripe is then working with Visa, and then Visa now has to work with the banks. It's like, whoa, now there's already 5 parties in my transaction again. I just want to send from A to B. So yes, it is a system that will augment and help, but it won't replace. It'll replace like the most important pieces of data that need to be transferred between parties, or for little currency uses. But it's, a company's always going to choose the cheapest, fastest option that's going to please the most customers.
Right.
And I mean, if you look at the whole Facebook things that happened over the last few years, people don't really care about their privacy. The amount of people that changed their privacy settings after, all the Facebook stuff happened it's still not that many. If people looked and like, whatever, it's public anyway. I kind of thought it was public already. So be it.
So it's not going to be like a day-to-day use thing. It's going to be a higher scale thing.
It depends what you're doing, but yeah, I'd say if you're an artist, you might have your song on a blockchain to prove that you own it. And then people can purchase the rights from you and track it on a blockchain. You can, there's not other parties in place selling it that you know of. And if they are, you can go, look, there it is. I made it. It's on the blockchain at this point in time, and you were selling it after this point in time. So therefore you stole it. Yeah. So there's like lots of little uses, but even that artist probably won't even know it's a blockchain doing it. It's just gonna be this cool app that pays them a little bit more than their other services that, Spotify or whatever else they could be getting paid from.
Right.
Yeah. And that goes for just about anything that is an asset that you own, you need to claim a right to, or data that you own and you want to be able to have access to or give access to, but have it still be secure. Or there's lots of use cases. Supply chain, that's a big one. Being able to track.
Wow, that'd be huge.
Being able to track the car part from, that goes in your car, and then something goes bad, and then there can oh yeah, you got the bad car part in your car. Just letting you know, it's going to blow probably soon.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And there's no way that you can like fuck with it essentially.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's inputted correctly and it's there forever. As long as there's a network of miners maintaining it, there's this history of it. Which also creates a different problem that we haven't necessarily addressed yet, which is what happens 100 years from now when there's just so much data that's on this chain from so long ago. How do they purge it eventually? I don't know. But these systems will live in place for a maximum 10 years, so we only have 10 years worth of data on them.
Which is nothing.
Yeah, what happens after 60 years? I don't know, but probably something a software update could hopefully help.
As it gets more and more common for businesses and people to use it, does that mean you need more and more miners? Or is this quantum computer thing idea?
Okay, so you would get more miners because as more people are using it, the price is going up.
Sure.
And as the price is going up,
People are gonna use
the incentive to be mining is going up, and the incentive has some. Oh, is 10% a month good for you? 20%. How far does it have to go before you turn on your device to become part of the network and try to earn some Bitcoin? Now, I'm guessing you don't have a specialized mining device because it moved well beyond the CPUs and GPUs that most people would be able to know to really specialized hardware. But GPUs, so like a graphics card, can be used for other platforms like Ethereum.
Oh, I see. So blockchain doesn't use it anymore? Graphics cards?
Sorry?
So like you don't use graphics cards to mine Bitcoin right now?
Bitcoin, no. So
Oh.
Bitcoin, it got to a point where when you're mining, it's just a game between how much energy or how much power can you output, how much electricity does it take to output all that power.
Right.
And the better the ratio, the more money you're going to make. So they're always, innovating. At the very beginning, it was supposed to be every CPU and anybody's computer can
Everywhere.
basically mine Bitcoin. But because it's always competitive and the fastest will be more likely to get the reward, it gets to a point where the more efficient hardware makes basically you trying to use your CPU a waste of money because you're spending more in electricity than you would get in return. Yeah. So it's like there's this always balancing effect happening that it's just incentive based. It's pretty clear. You want to make more money? Well, get into the right time. Or what percent will it take? Is it 5%, 6% will you become a miner? 7%? And at every stage you'll get more people. So, and then it balances back out to zero or whatever it would be. Whatever is the natural equilibrium for the market.
And then the more miners, the lower the transaction fees and all, like that kind of follows with it? Or is that completely separate?
Completely separate.
Damn it.
Yeah, there's a finite amount of information that can go in every 10-minute block.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was one of the debates from one of the prior forks is like, make the blocks really big so you can fit tons of data. And the other ones, make them more efficient so that you're using less data in a smaller block. Yeah, they both have, I guess they both work in some way, shape, or form. The Bitcoin Cash ended up going to like 125 megabyte blocks or something, whereas Bitcoin at the time was like 1 megabyte.
Wow.
So yeah, it's kind of, there's so many different like ways that you can innovate. And when two people have two different ideas on how solving a problem, well, in blockchain, they could both just take their own direction and have their own miners supporting their own truth and then create their own chain. So that's what happened. And now we have 2 coins or 3 and 4. There's tons of forks.
Wow.
But there's only one main Bitcoin. The main chain kept going on. It held its name, Bitcoin. And it's being upgraded on the Lightning Network so that fees are dropping to near zero and super fast. You don't have to wait 10 minutes for it to be verified. It'd be in seconds.
Wow.
The transactions are verified in seconds?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but this is like the network on top of the network.
Yeah.
I think that was before we were way up here in level 6. I think now we're at like level 3, level 4.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we'll get to quantum computing eventually. Right?
I don't know where to go from here, man.
I have one more question
Okay.
that I want to talk. So like when there's like the bull runs going on and all that stuff, people like pull out graphs and predictions and charts. How much do you actually look into that, or is that all bullshit?
I actually think the graphs and charts hold way more validity than any of the other like qualitative metrics.
Really, eh?
Mainly because it works in stocks, not
Mhm.
because the stock is good. It's because it's human nature. And humans are trading it, bots are trading it too, but humans are trading these cryptocurrencies. And when they see a trend, they all jump in on the trend. And when the trend switches, they'll jump off the trend. And we've seen it in Bitcoin a few times now where we have a huge trend one way and everyone go, oh shit, a huge trend the other way. And it's probably going to continue doing that.
2017 was tough, guys.
For Carl.
For a lot of people.
What was it up to? It was like over 20,000.
21,000, right? That's the
Pretty
highest.
close to it, yeah. Depends which exchange you're looking at.
Right. All the little variations.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? And then went down to what, 2.5 and like,
It went down to
8 months?
2,500.
yeah.
Close to it, not quite that low.
Wow.
Not
It was
that
like
low?
3,500. That's kind of what it dropped down to, and bounced right back. And we've seen this trend before. Yeah, I don't tell people to buy or not to buy. I just kind of tell them it's been around for quite a few cycles before, and
Mhm.
there's likely to be more.
Hold on for dear life, right?
Yeah, that's what they say. So hodl your coins.
Where do you get all your knowledge from?
I don't know. A range of various sources.
Hmm.
I weasel myself into, Discord and chat groups and stuff, and hardly compensate anything, but just absorb whenever there's, good stuff being shared. I created a Bitcoin club at UVic back when I was in university, so I kind of
yeah?
created my own little group, and now that's still live. We chat. I've connected with quite a few blockchain people throughout the last couple of years.
That's
On
how I
LinkedIn.
found you, because you were hosting that event in Vancouver. I
Okay,
found you
yeah.
through Eventbrite. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
So you do a lot of things like that?
Yeah. I mean,
Just sharing information and learning as much as you can.
I'm still pretty young. I'm just kind of having fun, but starting to transition into something that's a little more long term in terms of like a longer term contracts and gigs.
Mhm.
Because I've been doing a lot of an event or
Mhm.
speaking gig, or I teach someone and then they know it, and it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm done here. Yeah. Where do I get my knowledge from? Yeah, it's all these different sources all the time. And now on LinkedIn, whenever I go through LinkedIn, half of it's crypto stuff and some of it's news, some of it's just BS stuff that gets shared. You get really good at filtering out the BS stuff. Like anything that has to do with the price swing, it's literally like, get out of here. Why? That's not news. The price of something moved today. Everyone, announcement. What? No.
See that on Reddit a lot.
Yeah, and people just literally make posts about Bitcoin went up $4,000 today. Should you be interested in it? It's like, no, get out of here. What else? Medium articles is really helpful.
Mhm.
If you can create a network of people on Twitter,
Mhm.
find all the good people that share interesting information, and basically across all of these different sources, I kind of just have my finger on the pulse of so many different things. And because it's decentralized, there isn't a media outlet, or
Right.
not yet at least, that's this is the media outlet for everything. It's kind of just everyone all trying to pull as many factors in as possible to come to conclusions. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
I think I'm full of information.
That's a little too much, eh?
A little more technical, a little more deep, educational.
Can you give us a recap,
Which is
Denny,
good- which
of
is
what you
great.
learned?
No.
Yeah, Denny, what's a blockchain? How does it function?
Just listen to the podcast. I got nothing else, Carl. What do you got?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything.
That was a lot
That was good.
in a short amount of time. That was only an hour. That was a lot of information. Holy shit.
Takes a while to digest.
I'm gonna have to listen a few times, I think.
But what I'm learning, it's all so new, eh? Not a lot of people know really what's going on.
Well,
You said, everyone contributes a little bit, this whole sharing of ideas, and you go from there, right?
Well, there's the people that are really into it, and they don't really see the light of day.
Who's that Greek guy? That very popular Greek guy that always talks about? He was on Joe Rogan a few times, Antonopoulos or something.
Oh yeah. Antonopoulos is a very, very well-known educator in the space.
Okay.
He was actually quite like me at the beginning, in the sense that he did all these little gigs and education things, and then realized that he doesn't really have steady work, and then and then ended up creating a Patreon page, and then he had all of these different supporters, and he's making like $60,000 a year or more in just donations, which
Wow.
is amazing. And that's kind of what the crypto community is all about. It's all about this information and these influencers that can come up from just sharing good information. But Antonopoulos, he wrote a book, and he's been displayed across the media outlets a few times
Oh
now.
yeah. That's the guy you should check out, Denny.
I'm going to. I wrote it down.
I think it was Joe Rogan a few times.
You know how to spell
Really?
it? It's pretty difficult.
You'll find
I made it up.
Andreas Antonopoulos.
Andreas? Okay.
Yeah.
That should be easy to find on Joe Rogan. Beautiful. Well, that was all. I'm serious. I'm excited to listen back, because as you are in the conversation, I'm probably only picking up on like 10% of what we're actually talking about. Just because there's so many things, and my brain will stop and just be like, what did he just say? But you keep talking.
You kind of get hung up on it, right? Trying
Totally.
to figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hired a videographer to film like educational courses.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like started out just going through the content, and then he just turned into him asking questions. We're like, wait, really?
Yeah.
Wait, that's how it works? Wait, explain that more. And it just completely went conversational after that. He was just like, no, that doesn't make sense. No, it can't work that way. There's got to be something verifying it, or how do they get paid?
Listen, with that, where can like the average people go to learn more, or how to invest, etc.?
Well, I mean, my biased opinion would be my website,
Which is?
koiresearchgroup.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have all that posted too, the show notes.
Sure, thanks. Or blockwise.ca. We broke the site yesterday, but I mean, hopefully most people that listen to this will be live by then. Yeah, and Medium articles, there's
Just
the
there's
best
so much
source.
information.
Yeah,
Right? You
there's,
could go down a YouTube rabbit hole for days.
You definitely can. I think I did the Wikipedia rabbit hole where you get
Been
like
there,
a sentence in, you're like, oh, jargon, click. Oh, and you get a sentence in, you're like, oh, jargon, click. And then you have to backtrack like 7, 8, 10 different articles before you realize like, oh, okay, I think I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I started. A lot of terminology. Get the terminology down, because the terminology will help like cement your understanding of an article.
Sure.
Like if you don't know what a smart contract is, and an article is talking about a smart contract, well, you should probably learn about what it is first. Smart contract is a contract that executes on its own and is run on a blockchain.
Ethereum came up with that first, right?
Sorry?
Was that Ethereum first that made smart contracts?
Yeah. So like when everyone was creating coins, they were using a smart contract to create it. Yeah. That's the level 4.
We'll get to 7 one day. We'll get around 2 or something.
Oh, not many people come back once they make it to 7. They're just so deep into
It's
the
like
Bitcoin
Scientology.
rabbit hole that you become a pure decentralist. Yeah. Start
Oh, you
going
guys just
against
live
your
on a boat.
government
Yeah.
rioting.
What are governments saying?
The Canadian government's been really friendly.
Yeah.
Basically, they understand the powers of it. They don't want to stifle innovation. They know that we have a lot of cool things being built that they don't want to shoot down. It's the securities commissions that are having the hardest time with it. So the BCSC here locally, it's all different to them. So they literally had to go through a full learning curve before they can even start to wrap their head around it to make regulations.
Right.
So I think, sorry, what was the question? What are governments
What are
think of it?
governments saying?
Yeah. And then there's governments that are afraid of it. Definitely. Because it's a separate monetary system that can separate their country from their country's power over their currency and their people. Taxes, obviously, too.
Right.
If everyone is using online money and it's not easy to really know or track everybody, then how do you prove that they owe a certain amount of taxes, or if they're evading it, or if they are evading it and they're evading it, how do you take it from them? Before they just, seize your bank account. Done.
Right.
Yeah.
Are they excited about the opportunity to potentially start their own coins though?
Governments are never really excited.
Change.
But how much easier? Yeah, how much easier would taxes be and stuff like that?
It would be a breeze. It would be
Yeah.
nice, but it's a big system that no one necessarily is going to spearhead
Right.
that I know of.
Right.
There maybe someone is trying to spearhead it, but then getting it to the people in charge, like, look, it's this digital system. It takes care of everything. Like, what about the bugs? You know,
And
it's
just
like,
the amount
well,
of money that you're dealing with, right?
Yeah.
And just- yeah.
yeah, it's a big red flag, and they prefer to avoid those.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but the first countries that do set the precedent, like look into Estonia. I'd say that's a great place to start for what a government can do to really help their citizens and businesses by implementing blockchain technologies. Estonia.
Already currently doing it?
Oh, big time, way ahead,
So they have their own coin?
worlds ahead. No, they don't. I don't think so. They don't have their own coin, but they have digital identities for all the
Gotcha.
citizens and businesses, and,
Oh, that's cool.
and yeah, it's a lot easier.
Nice.
Got some research to do tonight, Carl.
I know.
Thanks a lot for coming on the show, man. That was a
Yeah,
lot
thanks
of
for
fun.
inviting me.
A
Hopefully
little bit
you
mind blowing, but
can
lot
digest
of fun.
some over the next few weeks or something.
totally. I'll have to listen to it a couple times.
This was much needed though, because we
100%.
always talk about blockchain, and it always comes up. You always hear it in the
It's
news.
probably
here
come
and
up on
there.
like 5 or 6 or even more.
It's relevant to real estate.
Totally.
Yeah.
Maybe people just start trading Bitcoin.
Yeah, realtor coin.
Maybe I'll start my own coin, Kyle. Greater Vancouver real estate coin. All right, let's get out of here. Cheers. Thanks, Chase.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That was fucking knowledgeable. That was a lot of info. I don't even know what to say. There's a lot.